starts now.
One of the best, though underappreciated part of the Star Trek universe is the fan-made realm. Books and independent film productions made by fans. Some of these are great. All of them are to be applauded for their passion, creativity, and hard, often self-financed work. And the most recent addition to this universe was finally released on YouTube on September 8, Star Trek Day. This one, Star Trek: The First Frontier, was made available online on the 54th anniversary of the first airing of Star Trek in 1966, and is a 5-year labor of love helmed by Kenny Smith. Much of the content in this podcast, by the way, is referenced directly from the website fanfilmfactor.com. Great site of fan-made content, and if you're a Star Trek fan, you'll definitely want to check it out. According to the site, Smith had this idea to create a fan film that centered on the very first captain of the USS Enterprise NCC-1701, Robert April. He wanted real sets, real actors, and a real, custom-built 11-foot model of the USS Enterprise. Talk about a labor of love. This project was partly financed through Kickstarter, but ultimately had Smith footing the lion's share of the bill himself, totaling around $130,000 US. Fan films of this kind are kind of like a cottage industry. They're small, sometimes rustic, but energetic, passionate, and engaging. Most importantly, Star Trek fan films tackle storylines that you wouldn't typically see a large studio taking on. Star Trek: The First Frontier explores the very first commander of the USS Enterprise, Captain Robert April, and his crew on their maiden voyage. Other similar fan-made films with custom-built sets include New Voyages and Star Trek Continues. Visually, the crew's uniforms are very similar to the Pike-era uniforms shown in the original series. This one is particularly interesting for me because I'm always looking for origin stories, anything leading up to the first contact, and the events and the years that followed. By the way, the man behind the project, Kenny Smith, is a Floridian, a Star Trek convention promoter, and he also happens to be a U.S. Army veteran, having seen action in Operations Desert Shield and Desert Storm. You can find a ton of information on fanfilmfactor.com. They have a Facebook page and an IMDb link. You can also access the film on YouTube by simply searching Star Trek: The First Frontier. Visit stephenchristiansen.ca for more episodes. This podcast is available on all streaming platforms including Anchor, Google, Spotify, TuneIn, and Apple. I'm Stephen Christiansen. Thanks for listening.
Production of Stephen Christensen. Podcast complete.